Converted man here. Today I've got It's Okay to Be Clown Pilled. I almost said pulled. It's okay to be clown pilled and pulled, but also she wants to be called Susie right now. So she's confusing me because I don't know what to call her anymore. Welcome to my channel. Susie, clown pilled, whatever you are. How are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
I exist. So, uh, let's talk a little bit. Let's introduce the concept. Maybe we'll start with that of pilling because I hear this and maybe people don't know, and we're going to assume that nobody understands what this is. So, there's a red pill, there's the blue pill. This is from the Matrix, and then there's a black pill and a purple pill, and there's a clown pill. So, what is clown? What is this? Can you explain that?
Well, being clown pilled means that you accept the insanity and you don't let it get to you. So, for example, if you're familiar with the short story of the clown is in a theater and the theater is full of people, the clown goes on stage and says, "Fire, fire!" And people cheer the clown on. And the clown goes, "No, really, there's a fire, fire, fire!" And people just keep cheering.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it down, and everybody
Just the
dies.
madness. Is that kind of because one way somebody could look at it as it's like it's nihilistic, like, well, the world's insane. Oh well, I'm just gonna accept its insanity and it doesn't matter. Is that
Yeah.
is that kind of the negative way to look at it? Like, and you're looking at it more of a positive way, or?
I think it's more of focus on the things in your life that you can control. You can't control the exterior. You can't control the president. You can't control the state government. You can't control other people, but you can control yourself.
Right, and goodness knows how well we were able to even do that, with all the things that happen to us and in our head, and who knows.
Yeah,
So
definitely. The social programming makes it really
yeah,
difficult.
right. Yeah, for all I know, everything I'm saying is not what I want to say, but hopefully it is. I don't lobsters, ha! Eat that, government. Yeah. So your channel, It's Okay to Be Clown Pilled. You have two of them, and one of them got turned off for a while, and now it seems to be back. But you said you have access problems, so this sounds like censorship to me. What's going on there from your perspective?
All right, so now I prefer to call it censorship because it's not consistent. Whenever there's censorship, you expect things to be consistent, but these people are playing mind games. They're gaslighting. And so I got censored because of medical misinformation. And all I was talking about is my family. And are we on YouTube, by the way?
Yeah, no, this is live. This is live.
Oh, okay, well, I was talking about the Rona and the stab, and it goes against the WHO's indoctrination. So anything that violates the indoctrination of the WHO will get you busted.
Well, yeah, it did seem, I've read and I've heard that YouTube is worried or has a policy about conspiracy theory. Now, what that is, I don't know, because, well, how do you define that? How do you determine what is or isn't a conspiracy theory, or whatever? And I really just see that as censorship that I don't think YouTube should do. I think that it's because I'm a skeptic. I want to be able to pick out the video and be like, here's why what they said is wrong. Here's the proof for that. But if the person that makes that video isn't there to make that video, then there's nothing for me to talk about. So, whether we agree or not on any given topic, it's like, well, then how am I supposed to convince you or you convince me unless we can have this conversation right now? If they ban you for saying something that they feel like, is misinformation, maybe it is misinformation. But it's your opinion, and you deserve to be able to be corrected on that, as well as learn that you're wrong. But you can't do that if they just ban you. then you walk away thinking, well, maybe I'm right, because why would they ban me if, unless, maybe they're scared of what I'm saying. So all it does is potentially reinforce those beliefs rather than negate them, I think. And I'm very much against censorship. I just find it disdainful, and I've heard and read how many channels have undergone this selective censorship. Um, it's really messed up. It is part of the madness that I've seen, that I think is like, yeah, let's just laugh at that. And that's, one of the reasons I listen to your channel is like, this is a vlog sort of channel. It's just your opinions. You're not trying to necessarily say, well, I mean, maybe you say it in a way that suggests that you believe that it's true, but I don't know. It's the difference between, if you say something is true, then you have a burden to prove it. But if you say, I believe X, then you don't have a burden to prove it. So which way are you going about that, broadly speaking?
I guess I just express the world as I see it. My views, personal views. And
Right.
people who resonate with that generally like to watch my content.
Right. Well, not to defend YouTube, because I don't want to defend them, but I'm trying to think, like, well, maybe if we say, well, I believe X, then they should leave us alone. But it seems like they'll, just go, no, you believe something, and that's factually incorrect, so we're going to delete that. It's like, yeah, but it's a belief, then there's going to be nobody left anymore, because we all have some belief at some point,
Right.
it's just so weird to me that they do that.
It's all about money.
Oh,
And
yeah.
YouTube is being paid to push an agenda. And anybody who violates that narrative or agenda, they need to be silenced. And apparently I've hit a nerve. That's why I've got 2 strikes on my channel. They're trying to teach me a lesson. They don't, but it's weird because my channel's small. I have under 1,000 subscribers. I must have a bigger reach than they're letting me know.
Well, or it's the bots, or yeah. Well, I got a strike for hate speech, and I tried to say, well, it was silly, it was comedy, but it doesn't matter if it's silly and comedy, because if it's hate speech, it's hate speech. It doesn't matter what it is, apparently. Yeah. And I'm like, but this doesn't hurt anybody. And there isn't really hate speech. There's just speech that people don't like, and all that's happening is, like what you just said. It's like, well, they're under this agenda and all this. It's like, well, okay, maybe that's true. What's the evidence for that? What's the proof of that? Is there something to it, or is this just something that you have stated as an opinion and a belief that you hold? But if YouTube says, well, look, you said this, and that's misinformation, blah, you're gone. Well, then, there's no, then you're going to walk away thinking, well, man, maybe I'm really right. You're not going to walk away going, well, I guess I was wrong. It's just not a way to have a conversation. And then, like I said, how am I or anyone else going to interact with people to say, hey, maybe you're incorrect, maybe I'm incorrect, let's discuss this, let's debate this, let's find out the truth, whatever it is. And maybe we can't figure it out, who knows, maybe it's just one of those things where we can't find the truth, and that might be the case. But by banning people, or canceling people, or whatever you want to call it, that does nobody any good, in my view. And it's like, I listen to videos you've made, and some of the ideas you have, I understand and agree with. Some I don't. And it's like, well, that's exactly why I listen, is because I don't want to wind up in a bubble of just yes men, or yes women, or yes robots around me. I want to engage with it. I want to understand, well, why does somebody believe X, Y, or Z? I'm a skeptic, so I don't have those sort of beliefs. I have a different methodology, so how, if we can't talk about it, then we can't talk about it, right? And it's just ridiculous. So that's to me, when I see the clown pill thing, that's what I think. I think, oh, it's this madness of we can't even have a discussion because it's wrong think. It's the 1984 kind of thing. I don't know. Is there?
Well, a couple of problems. We're in the United States. We have the Constitution. The Constitution doesn't get followed. Our government doesn't stand up for us. And was it last week or something like that? Jen Psaki admitted that the government is behind social media censorship.
Did they?
Yep.
Wow. I'd have to.
Yep,
I'd have
she said
to look.
that. She said, I can't remember exactly what she said, but something to do.
I'm sorry, you cut out there. Hello? Hello? Uh-oh. Panic! Panic! Hello? Am I here? Am I alive? Oh, bleep. I think Susie had internet problems. Oh, dear. Well, let's give her a few moments to see if she can fix that. She cut out there. She was having internet issues a little bit earlier, so if anything, we'll reschedule this for a different time, and we'll pick up again. Yeah, and so yeah, she just dropped. Oh, wow. Bane. Well, wait, let's see. Email. No, that was YouTube emailing me. Well, that's not cool. That Bane. Just okay, guys, girls, and robots out there. I will reschedule with It's Okay to Be Clown Pilled, and we'll talk more about conspiracy and censorship and all that. And as a oh wait, they're back. Please be back. Yeah, no, get in there. Device not connected. Add to stream. I don't care. Okay, you're back.
Somehow I got booted.
Oh my word.
Yeah,
it must be the powers that be trying to silence you. I was sweating there. I'm like, well, I'll wrap up and I'll reschedule. And
I know, it's insane, isn't it? So I'm going to put this on my cell phone here so that I can at least communicate in the live chat.
Yeah. I try not to. I can't pay attention to that and you, so I pay attention to you instead of chat. And I'm just kind of like glance over, like, hi, person that said hi to me. Hi, it's like So yeah, you were saying about censorship and about these feelings you have about or the what was it? What politician was it said whatever it was you think that they said? Now I don't remember.
Oh, Jen Psaki.
Yeah.
That's the president's spokesperson.
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry. The president, or P in Psaki is silent, and P in president is silent too. Resident potato.
Yeah.
Man, we got a potato in charge. That's just insane. He's the worst.
Oh, come on, Biden is fun. Everyone loves Biden.
He's the worst. He's the worst teleprompter reader out of all of them. They all.
I've never heard him say anything. Yeah.
They all read a script, and if you watch Biden carefully, even with all his gaffes and trying to look like he's nutso, he's doing that because he's reading a script. The timing and everything is off. And if you've ever worked with anybody who's truly got deficits, like from a dementia or whatever, they don't act like that.
Are you suggesting that it's part of the script for him to fumble?
Yep, it is. It is. And a lot of people think that he's doing that because they want to put our favorite camel toe in office.
Harris?
Yep.
Yeah. I read that and I heard that the plan, quote unquote, and this is again somebody's idea, not mine, that the plan is that Biden will do 2 years, and then I'm sick and I can't do it, and then Harris will take over, and then win, and then so she'll have, if she can do back-to-back wins, then she'll have 10 years in total as commander in chief and all that.
In the state of Oregon, I know this seems a little bit like it doesn't connect. In the state of Oregon, they replaced the governor Kulongoski. Was it Kulongoski? No, it was some guy who was this doctor, right? And he had a term, and then he started a second term, and there was corruption or whatever, and he stepped down, and they put in Kate Brown. And then there was an election, this last election, and she won again. People are surprised because nobody likes her. But anyway, she was never voted into office to begin with. And just like Harris cannot be president. She doesn't qualify according to the Constitution. And if they put in, we know that our Constitution is not being followed, and there's big money behind that to keep the Constitution from being enforced.
In what way does she not qualify?
I don't think her parents were citizens when she was born here. I think your parents have to be citizens.
No, I think you just have to be born here. As far as I recall, I could be. I'm not sure offhand, but yeah. I mean, this
throw people out whose parents weren't citizens. There was no birthright citizenship. That's actually birthright citizenship is unconstitutional.
Is it?
Yep.
I don't know. I'm no expert on these things. I just go, okay, well, maybe it is. I'll have to look into it later. I have no idea. And that's, essentially with all these sort of things, be the political or
we didn't have birthright citizenship up until after, the 60s.
I didn't know that. yeah. I was like, okay, I don't know.
Living on the West Coast and living around multiculturalism.
Yeah, well, yeah. So there's so much, craziness and madness that I've seen and heard, and I get worried that I'll get swept away by it. Sometimes I have to be very careful. It's like, how do you, when you hear something that you think is wrong, what methodology do you employ to deduce whether it's wrong?
Oh, that's a good question. I guess I look for red flags. Like I'll use a really big example when the Rona hysteria started. Everything that they're reporting on the news. I'm like, I'm a nurse. Even though I don't work as a nurse anymore, once you're a nurse, you're always a nurse. That's not possible, and that's not possible. They just kept saying things that were absolutely impossible. And so it made me suspicious, and then I started to dig. Once you get suspicious about something, then you start peeling back the layers to see what you're actually looking at. And sometimes, there's situations where I've been suspicious about stuff, and I peel back the layers, and everything is legit. Is that
right? Well, yeah, but now, of course, do you go about trying to disprove your idea, or because we can, as humans, we can fall into this pattern seeking where we go, oh, I have idea X, and rather than trying to disprove it, we go to prove it. So
yes.
do
you can't prove something doesn't exist. You can only prove it exists.
Right. Well, yeah, you can. Yeah, but you want to try to disprove your idea. Like, okay, what would make this idea false? That's like the kind of the hardcore sort of scientific methodology. Is like, I'm gonna say, okay, this is what I believe. What would falsify that? And
right,
instead of like looking at things that all agree with me, I'm gonna look at all the things that don't agree with me first.
Right. Yeah, I completely understand that. Yeah, I do that. Even though it's painful and I don't like it, all I want to do is confirm my own biases. Yes, I will go through the process of disproving what I think I understand.
Right. It's very difficult to do that. Because we want to be right, but I actually have trained myself to love being wrong, because then
Yeah.
that means I learned something new. You
Uh-huh.
know, it's like, oh, I was wrong. Good. But it took time to really get that into my brain, and even still, I have to sometimes fight the emotions. Like, no, I want to be right. It's like,
Oh yeah.
when you're right all the time, it feels great. It's like,
Gives you a false
uh,
sense of security, doesn't it?
yeah, exactly. So we're not experts. We don't claim to be experts. Um, and as I said, my viewers we're all kind of jaded skeptics, so they might look at something you've done here and there and be like, well, here's where you're wrong. So I don't know if they'll do that. Expect the worst, and also the best, because they're good people, and they'll engage with you honestly and openly about the things, and try to explain things to you and whatever. So that might happen. I don't know that it will. I don't know that it won't. So I do, but so either look forward to that or nothing will happen. I really don't know. I can't tell these cats what to do. They do whatever they want.
I think I've been really blessed on the internet. The people who watch my channel, whenever I get something wrong, they don't crucify me in the comment section. They tell me that I'm wrong, but they're very, what would you say? Second term.
Civil. Yeah. That's the thing
Yeah,
is, I was just
positive. Yeah, real
right.
positive.
I just talked about this guy that was, saying all these attacks against the people. Oh, you're a narcissist, you're a bigot, you're this, you're that. And I'm like, yeah, and what's your argument? It doesn't, I don't care. Like, whatever. I'm all those things. And what's your argument? And it doesn't, the insults don't, when was the last time somebody said, hey, you're stupid, and that changed your mind, right? Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't work. And I had done before that, I had did a talk about how to handle verbal arguments or fights, that we have to at least try to agree with each other that we're not going to insult each other. Let's start there, and then let's say we're not going to raise our voice, and let's agree to that. And then let's have this conversation. It's like, okay, well, you may claim X, say about, I just watched one of your videos where what was it that you called the C-19 vaccine? Was the stab, or what was?
Yeah, do you want me to say the F word?
Huh?
Do you mind if I use profanity? I call the CV-19.
Yeah, no, go ahead. Say whatever. Yeah, so go ahead.
Mindfuck virus.
Okay.
Mindfuck. Psychological operation.
So
It really has taken a toll on people psychologically. It's
you're talking
sad.
about the virus itself, or are you talking about the whole pandemic, or
Everything. Yeah. People
okay?
are just, even I don't like going out. I don't like going to the grocery store. I don't like going to stores anymore. It makes me so mad because people they folded and they complied, and the only way that you can have tyranny is if the citizenry comply, and that's why I'm out here in Ohio, because the citizenry here don't comply.
So if people were asked to do it and not forced to do it, do you think that would have been better?
If people are asked to do it and rather than forced to do it, well, it's the crab in the pot. Are you familiar with that one? Where there's a bunch of
No.
crabs in the pot, and any of the ones that try to climb out, the ones down at the bottom grab them and drag them back in. That's the so if you scare enough people, they're going to stay to the bottom of the pot, and anybody who tries to climb out, they'll grab them and drag them back down.
So what do you think would have been the optimal way to handle the pandemic? Or how do you say the word pandemic? Did I say it right? No, I said it wrong. I know. Pandemic. I can't say words.
By the government or by
yes, both the government and individuals. Or should it just have been an individual thing, and the government should have stayed out?
Let's see, 2018 or 2019, 1.4 million people died of tuberculosis. And tuberculosis is a very serious health concern. You should be very concerned with it, because once you get tuberculosis, now I haven't looked at the updated treatment modality, but once you get tuberculosis, you are registered with the health department, and you have to take 3 different antibiotics for 18 months. That may have changed since the last time I looked, but it's a really serious infection. But it's a mycobacterium, and meaning it's a real tough one to beat once that one gets into your lungs, and it's contagious. But this virus that they say is going around, hospitals were built because of tuberculosis. It changed our entire culture, and it was well documented how it changed our culture, how it harmed people. You know what I mean? And this thing is changing our culture, but nobody's getting sick. I just saw some statistics from 2020. The death rate is about the same as it's been the last 4 years. So, and then we've had other communicable diseases, and there was never this hysteria.
Yeah, I feel that there might be some apples to oranges potentially in there. I'm not saying that there is or isn't. I just detect that possibility. But yeah, I mean, it does seem that a lot of people really do have these feelings that you're expressing, and that I it's like, well, obviously got to get the vaccine. Just, it's better to do it than not. But it does seem like the way that things have gone, it has, for whatever reason, created fear in a lot of people. And it's like, okay, we screwed this up globally, because it's not just America. It seems like everyone did this wrong. And I don't know that I would have done it any better had I been in charge. And at the end of the day, it's like, it's about personal responsibility, and we need to take that and say, okay, here's the thing, like, here's how this works or whatever. And I guess that fear, we have to analyze that in a logical way and say, okay, is this too far? Like, they're forcing people to do X, Y, and Z. Even if it's even if it's for our good, we can still say, look, we get it, but we're not going to comply. But in this case, we kind of have to comply because it's for our health and safety, and it's such a complicated mess. And yeah, all I know is, South Carolina recently has been reopened. And I'm like, we went to the store. I'm like, where's all the masks? Like, last time we were here, everybody had masks. Nobody has. What's going on? Like, it's so weird. Like, everybody was doing this, and now it's like, no, it's fine. And I'm like, well, but nothing really changed. I mean, we got the vaccine. A lot of people got it, but not everybody. So I don't know. I don't know what to say to that. It's just like, well, I guess either everyone that can die will die of it, or I don't know. I don't know.
It is suspicious, isn't it? One day
it's weird. I won't say suspicious. I should say it's weird.
It's suspicious. It's suspicious. Like I told you, I was a nurse for 14 and a half years. And the only time that we ever wore masks was when we were breathing in people's open wounds. Because your mouth is the dirtiest place in your body. And plus, your immune system works really well. So, with all those germs in your mouth, your immune system is not going to let it migrate to the rest of your body. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, the mask is to protect other people.
Well, the mask actually is social conditioning. It doesn't really do anything unless your face is in an open wound. You're breathing your germs in it. It's not really doing anything other than making you sick. And in a few years, we're going to see people. They're going to have these, especially young people who religiously wear masks. They're going to have the same condition as smokers, same health problems that smokers have when they hit middle age.
Well, if that was the case, I would think that we would have seen that happen in Japan because they regularly wear masks there.
Uh-huh. You know, I really don't know anything about that population because I'm not there to witness it. And if I was, if I was working in a hospital or long-term care situation or a home health nurse, I would definitely be able to track the trends. And that's really interesting. I will have to look up and see what sort of health issues that middle-aged
It's part of their the whole culture is pretty about cleanliness, and so people will wear masks because either allergies or if they feel sick, and so they'll But I'm sure I'd have to dig up some metadata studies, and I'm sure there have been studies on it. But yeah, I mean, it's part of their thing. So I think that if there, and of course we would have seen that with nurses and doctors, they regularly wear masks. So I think that if there was any side effects from just that, I think we would have already seen that by now. These things have to be demonstrably demonstrated. If it's true, then there's science to it. If not, then it's just our personal feelings on it. And even though you have some expertise in the field, that doesn't mean you know all the things that there is to know. So we have to be careful of what's called the Dunning-Kruger effect, where it's like you think, and you can look into that. But yeah, I mean, my goal here wasn't to debate you on any particular subject or anything. My interest here was to talk about that you have these ideas that people that I think that that in a way, for me, you represent, if you will, a vast majority of people that are feeling these feelings that you have, and maybe they're saying stuff, but then they're being silenced, or maybe they're not saying what they feel like because they're afraid of being silenced. And I don't want that. I want people to say what they think and feel, so that so that I and others can respond to that, so that your ideas or your ideas, my ideas or my ideas, we come together, we say, okay, let's look at this. Let's talk about that. Like you said, oh yeah, I'm going to look into this Japanese thing. I didn't know anything about that. That's like that's a potential for you to learn something new. And then you said this thing about the political person who, because my memory sucks, I'm going to have to re-listen to this, or maybe you can email me the name so I can look that up and go, oh, okay, that's information I didn't know. And we're learning about stuff together. And we can't do that if we're silenced. And that just, I don't understand why YouTube and other things are doing this stuff that they're doing with that sort of thing. Okay, I'll give you the last word. I've got your channels on in the description. The second, now, if I'm correct, the second Clown Pill channel, that one you do upload to. The first one you don't have access to.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't even watch videos on my own channel. Isn't that nuts?
I don't know what's going on there. That's just weird. I don't know. But yeah, so it's okay to be clown pilled, or two.
Yeah, one or two. Yep.
Yeah, and people can listen to you there. Do you have any other thing you want to plug or talk or say a final message for the internets here?
Well, something, we live in a really crazy world because we're in the middle of the information age. We get a lot of information, and sometimes it seems like the world is ending, like the sky is going to fall and hit us in the head. And we got to remember that that we just need to write down our goals and keep plugging forward and ignoring the insanity.
Okay. I think that's great. Thank you so much for doing this interview. I mean, we could have gone deeper, but I really, I'm like, oh, I want to debate all the issues, but that's not why I brought you here. And so, but we can set that up for a different time if you want to. But thank you so much for talking to me, and I really appreciate your time and energy.
Oh, thank you for inviting me. I had a good time. Thank you.
All right. Okay, we're gonna hit the button and then when I hit the button, like all the chat people, they can't do things after I do that. So I'm gonna type in Finn, and then like I'm gonna tell them the thing that I always tell them. I tell them to post, like, you know, the comment in the YouTube, because the YouTube doesn't care about them chatting. And and Johnny said thanks Susie and spelled your name wrong, but then fixed it. So he says thanks, and people said things, but I don't have to, you know, I just want to hit the button and then be done, because otherwise my brain will melt and I'll become stupid. Wait, I think that's already happening. Ah, the humanity. Okay. All right. Peace out, everybody. And yeah, I'm gonna hit the. Okay, there's the button.